Hey, it's Charlie here. Welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be explaining how you can get 10,000 followers on Instagram in by far the fastest way possible. And trust me, I've been in your position. I've been stuck at that few hundred cap and it sucks, right? Because you put effort into posting content that you think is great and then boom, 500 views. Well, I'm going to show you how to solve this once and for all without paying an editor because I think it's a waste of money, without batch recording content, without spending money on ads. You don't need to do anything of what you think you need to do. You just need to follow the 3 steps that I'm going to give you in this video. Let's jump straight into it. Now, very importantly, why do you need followers? Well, everything you do stems off you having social proof and trust within a market. You want to get good at outreach. You need social proof. No one's going to trust you or no one's going to listen to you or respect you if you don't have followers. If you want to post content, it's a feedback loop. More followers, more views. If you want to do ads, that mostly works if you have a good profile. So everything stems off social proof and trust. Hopefully that makes sense because I wasn't respected when I first started, and that's why I wanted to make this video to help my younger self, because I was getting rejected from clients, and you'll get rejected in the same way like this man is getting rejected from this girl if you don't watch this video. So everything changed for me when I had social proof, and that's now why I can message millionaires and get responses back. For every 10 messages I send to quite literally a millionaire or a very popular creator, I can probably get on a call with them at like a 5%, 10% rate, which is very high. Definitely get a 10% reply rate. That's for fact, because I've done that multiple times at a very high level of entrepreneurship. Now, what you need to understand is the detailed metrics, numbers, and KPIs to get to 10,000 followers. Just so you understand how this works. So 0.1% to 1% of views will turn into a follow. So for every 100 views, you will likely get 1 follower. Now that is on average. It depends on the format of content, which we're going to be talking about, but you need to understand this. So you will most likely need 5 million views to get 10,000 followers, and you're probably thinking, Charlie, how the hell do I get 5 million views? Well, I'm going to be explaining how, and it's actually a lot easier than you think. So on a macro level, so a bigger level, all you're going to be doing is posting twice per day, and you can do this within probably an hour or two. Actually, no, I'd say within an hour, only an hour, okay? Because that's what I do personally. So you don't need to spend hours doing this. It's just like maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day, and you can get these 5 million views, maybe in 60 days, maybe in 90 days. It really depends on how good you are at this, but I'm going to be increasing your skill level. Now, you need to follow these 3 steps, and these are the micro strategies. So macro is obviously very simple. You understand you need to post, but let's jump into the micro, which is how you're going to actually get these views to result in those followers. So you should understand the metrics and what you most likely have to achieve to get those followers. Now, it is very, very important that you create your own rotational content calendar. Now, the fastest growing creators are doing this, and I'm going to explain this pattern right now. So essentially, some creators are doing this intentionally, some maybe unintentionally, but it's very smart because what you're doing is essentially extracting the most amount of emotions from your audience, because whenever they see you on their feed, they don't know what emotions, whether it's dopamine, serotonin, is going to get released. Because if you follow this, right, where I post, for example, a meme, you can see this meme right here, and then a talking head, and then a meme, and then a talking head, like meme or text with real, talking head, meme, talking head, it diversifies it. And if we look here, you can see that this one is a talking head, so it's not going to get too many views, maybe like 3,000, then 30,000, 13,000 for talking head, so slightly less, but then up here we have 280,000 views. So you get the point. You want to create a basically just a rotational content calendar. And if we look at Brez, which you probably know, now he may do this unintentionally, subconsciously, but he does an edit, talking, and not always, and I don't do this always, but it's just nice to have the actual thing lined up so you kind of know what you're posting. Like, cool, it's Monday, I'm going to post a meme, Monday meme, or Tuesday, it's going to be Tuesday talking. So it's just nice to have it split up. And what you are doing here is creating, as I said, your rotational content calendar, but keep watching because it's very important. You're also planting seeds, because with every content or piece of post you make, you're essentially planting a seed. Some seeds are going to grow larger than others into plants or whatever it is. I'm not a person that can talk too much about that, but you get the point. Every time you plant a seed, some are going to grow larger than others, and you're going to get more investment from it. So think of yourself as an investor. You're making these pieces of content, you're investing your time in these pieces of content. Some are going to do better than others. For the ones that do better, you're going to double down, and that's how you can grow exponentially. And it's not going to be a linear trajectory to 10,000 followers. You will most likely get 80% of your followers from a few posts, if I had to guess. And that's what happened to me personally when I've gotten videos go viral. And I think it is better if you actually grow a bit slower and not get all your followers at once, because they don't really have too much involvement in who you are, and they're not really following you for the like who or why you're doing this, but rather because they just saw one video, which isn't really the great way to go about it. But with this content rotational thing, you can basically do it in a way that you're not just doing the same boring stuff, and you're not just going to get followers from one certain thing, but you're going to get people to actually know you on a deeper level. And that's where it can get a lot deeper, because what you can do is actually do this, where you do Tuesday and you're talking about like a story you've had. Thursday you're doing talking, but it's a value post. Saturday you're talking, but it's authentic. So by doing this even more, you're basically just planting more seeds, and you're putting more things into the lottery, and with every post you're just entering that lottery, but it's obviously free and you can do it in an infinite amount of times, but you're just like diversifying your whatever you call it, tickets. So that's how that works. And one thing you can do is create a binge bank. I would highly recommend creating a binge bank, which is essentially like a series, or day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Jordan Welch, you can see he's done that amazingly with this Stranger series. But you can also do the same if you're building something. Build in public as a series, and that's going to allow you to actually gain loyalty when it comes to followers. So that is just step 1. And if you do this every day, you post once a day or even twice a day. I personally do twice a day. I try to, at least, and it's okay if you are, not too consistent, but ideally be 80% consistent. That's what you should be, because obviously some days it's not going to be possible, but consistently good is better than occasionally great, and that's an amazing saying. So let's jump into step 2, and that is going to be doing bi-daily CTAs after a 24-hour break. So cool, you understand that you should be doing a rotational content format, and the reason we do talking head, just very quickly, is because I think the market is shifting towards more authentic and raw content, and I've tried the whole edited one, and it's a waste of money. It hasn't really brought me a return on investment compared to just talking. It's so easy to get ideas, and just whatever you're doing in that day you can just talk about, and it's just low barrier to entry, but it's way better in my opinion. So yeah, that is the first thing. So lock that in, write it down. Step 2 to get to 10,000 followers is what I said about doing bi-daily CTAs after a 24-hour break. So you can't do stories every day before a CTA. When you do a CTA, make sure you haven't posted like 12 hours to 24 hours before that, because that's going to allow the algorithms to have a break. And then when you do post your story CTA, it's going to get so many more views. And that's how I've been able to get 1,400 views, 1,000 views on a story, compared to a few hundred if I were to post like every day the same stuff. And if you don't have this set up, which is a 6-step story sequence, please set this up, because any attention, which is what you're going to be doing, you're gathering attention. The more people who find out about you are the more people who are going to find out about your product or service or whatever you're selling. So it's really important that when people see your face or see your meme or see your edit, they click on your profile, and then you have a start here introductory like story sequence, which is the 6-step trust building story sequence like this, where step 1 of the story is going to be you share a win and who you are. So something like this, you can read this in your own time. The next story is going to be the actual so intrigue and curiosity. You can see, you can pause this and read this in your own time, but it's all psychological, and it's all designed to essentially build trust with social proof, and then a CTA at the end, and that's just to gather the most. You can also do that with your pinned posts. You can do like carousels of your story and what you do, your mission, everything like that. Very important. But stories, the reason this is important is if I actually go back up here, you can see that I believe, if this analytic is true, I have gotten a lot of followers from my actual stories, which is interesting. And I think stories is actually, besides DMs, I think stories is the #1 time spent like mechanism, if that makes sense, on Instagram. Like, people spend the most time watching stories or replying to DMs. I think it could be different now, especially with reels. People are doom scrolling a lot, but stories are quite popular just because of the curiosity that you get, because you can't see what it is. So when you see a friend's story, you want to click on it. You have no idea what it's going to be. So that's why. And it's the same thing with the format right here, but keep watching because you need to understand the rest of this video. So these are just examples of some story CTAs that would get like typically 1,000 views, depending. This one got a bit less, but you can see it's very similar, where you have the like main thing you're solving, so free leads, and then just DM me leads, and boom, like that is what you do, and you'd get a lot of views from that, and not all followers, which is pretty cool. So that is step 2. Step 3 is going to be touch point maxing and awareness. So your goal as a beginner or just starting entrepreneurship is to get more people to find out about you. That is very, at a fundamental level, what you are struggling with the most. If you don't have any clients, you aren't making any money, it's because no one really knows who you are. So that is what these two should solve if you do it consistently and you do it for a certain amount of time, which I'll explain how long you need to do this for if you keep watching. But you essentially want to do targeted touch points on ICPs. It's very simple. Yeah, even I get lazy with this, and I haven't done this too recently, but it's something I should be doing, and I know I should be doing more of, where you essentially just find your ICPs. Let's say you're helping fitness coaches. Cool. You want to just like their content, follow them. So whenever you open up Instagram, all you're going to see is fitness coaches. So you can just like doom scroll, but drop a comment, drop a comment. And if you do this and you follow them, you should get around 5% of your ICPs to follow you back. So you follow 100 per day, which you can do on Instagram. You can only really send 60 messages per day, but you can follow more people than you can message, which is why this is quite effective. So you should get maybe 5 inbound followers per day of your ICPs, who will then maybe see your stories, then maybe see your building in public or your series or your rotational content, and get nurtured, and then take action or book an appointment. And if you do this correctly, it can work. And obviously you can amplify this entire process with ads. However, I wouldn't recommend doing that as of yet. Especially if you don't have any clients at all. I really wouldn't recommend that. Now, one thing to note is you should be doing the rule of 100, which states that you do 100 minutes of content creation per day for 100 days, and you should have a 100k a year business, according to Hormozy. But I can say from first experience that this is very powerful, because it's not just going to be a week of posting. And that's what happens for most people. They do a week of posting daily, they stop doing it and say it doesn't work. Well, no, you need to do it for 3 months. Realistically, this isn't an overnight hack, and I'd be lying if I said you could get 10,000 followers in a week, because realistically you can't. Who knows what the algorithm's going to do? Sure, someone watching this may get a video to get 5 million views, but it's unlikely. But if you follow these 3 steps and you do your 2 posts per day or 1 post per day minimum and rotate between the formats, and you do the bi-daily story CTAs, and bear in mind, I always do long form assets. So this video, for example, will go as an Instagram story, and then I can actually branch off that as a content flow to create a reel where I'm talking about, here's how you get 10,000 followers per day on Instagram, or don't do these 3 things if you want 10,000 followers. Typically negative hooks work a lot better. But if I make an Instagram reel in a different format, I can then have the comment CTA as this. So I'm basically pushing people to my long form, and then from my long form, which you're watching right now, back to my short form Instagram, and that allows you to be in my loop, my ecosystem, and eventually you'll probably convert into a customer of my community or maybe one of my SaaS products. But that is just how it works. So yeah, you can get started with this. You should have the confidence, and it's never going to be the right time to get started. But hopefully this makes sense. And one thing that is very important is to just analyze people in your market. So if you have people who are where you want to be, please look at their most popular videos, look at outliers, which are videos that have performed on a, ideally 3 to, actually with IG, it could literally be like a, 5x multiplier to followers for views. So if someone gets 5x more views than they do followers, that is like an outlier, even 3x. So yeah, look at outliers in your niche, and if you do that every day, you create your content calendar, you're going to do very well. And I wish you all the best, and message me on Instagram if you want help, and yeah, check out the description if you want more help. So catch you in the next video. Take it easy, guys, and have a wonderful day.